Currently in progress, episode 14. Our guests today are a couple of friends that I met at the bar the other day. Yes, I know, weird, but let's get into it. Okay, so we are live. I don't really do intros. We just get right into it because I'll intro you later. But what's up, man? How have you been?
Been pretty good.
Been pretty good. Saw you at the bar the other night.
Yeah, hadn't seen you in quite a while.
Yeah.
Honestly, didn't even recognize you.
Happens. No, but we were talking and we had the one thing in common from a long time ago, but the Battle of the Fans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brought back the memories.
Yeah. All good ones, obviously.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So no, I want to talk about. It's always cool to like compare how people got like good at their things. Like even when you compete, and like I always wanted to understand what people thought about when I competed against them, basketball, football, and stuff. But like when it came to like what you guys did to prepare and like do what you guys did during a game, like skits and stuff. Like what did you guys do like outside of just being in the game? Like did you guys come up with that like meetings like?
Yeah, they
Stuff
had
like that.
meetings. The athletic director had us go like once a month or so, and then just kind of have a natural conversation like this and spark up ideas, watch funny videos, get any ideas from like what other people have done and how to kind of combat what that is in a
Yeah.
fun, friendly way, and still kind of give it a little dinger to the other team.
Yeah. No, that's you always gotta do that. Yeah, that's great. And you guys only did it once a month? You guys
Yep, that done
and
like
like
once a month.
during like season once a month?
Yeah, like just because everyone was in classes and other
Yeah.
organizations, and
Gotcha.
we just pretty much met once a month. And then I mean everyone was pretty close otherwise because we everyone on sports teams, and you kind of just see people from practices and bus rides.
Yeah.
We'd share bus rides if we were going to the same location,
Yeah.
so got to
So,
chat with other teams.
Your leader of it was the AD, or did he like bring it up to you, or were you guys already like interested in the
He brought it up. We had no idea what it was. He's just thought it'd be a fun thing for the school to participate in
Dang.
and approach some other individuals that might be interested that weren't playing like this current sport at
Yeah.
the time. And yeah, that was the case.
That's how it started. So like were you guys already like big like supporters of like those events? Like did you guys already kind of have that following, or did you make that following?
No, it's St. John's. They always had a lot of sports watchers and fans. Always,
Yeah.
It always drew the crowd. Small enough town that's kind of what you do on the
Yeah.
weekend. That's pretty much what the routine was for everyone.
Gotcha. That's the same thing here at Beaverton. It was pretty cool. Like, you would just we would have weekly meetings because we could get away with it. Our AD would literally like he wanted us to do this like full heartedly. So every what was it, homeroom, we would like that half hour. We would all meet up in one of the classrooms and we'd be like, okay, this is what we're gonna go over. This is our agenda. We'd make like a big old poster board, like first quarter this, second quarter this, and we had a couple days where we had meetings with people in like outside of school with our AD and like higher ups, and we'd be like, hey, if we wanted to do a silent night and we wanted to have all the kids rush the floor from like outside, could we do it? And they're like, logistically no. And like, dude, we'd come up with the craziest ideas, and like our one advisor, which was our JV coach, was basketball coach. He would be like, oh, he would know that it wasn't going to go well, but he's like, we'll try it out, you know?
See how it goes.
Yeah, it was always fun that way. But, yeah, I don't know if I actually met you at Michigan State, but did you have long hair back then?
I did.
Yeah?
It was just growing out for the first time.
Yeah? Dude, I don't know what it is, but I remember we were up in the bleachers somewhere. It was like during the game, but we were all like, the teams were like right next to each other. I think you were right below me. And I was like, dude, this guy's got some flow.
That inspire you there?
Yeah, dude. I was like, dude, I know, like, I'm going to remember this kid because of the flow.
Is that the first time you guys, like...
That was the first time I
Wait, at the bar, was that the first time you've seen each other since then?
Yes.
Yeah.
How did you remember him?
I'm
like,
pretty
he looks
sure,
so different.
I'm pretty sure I followed him on Instagram, like
okay.
that, like, and then I would just, like, casually, like, okay, there he is. Like, that's the guy from Battle of the Fans. Like, follow him.
Life
And
update.
yeah, and then, like, I see him at the bar, and, like, I've, like, creeper alert. I've seen you a couple times at the bar, and I was like, I don't know how to approach this guy, but like I know who that fucker is.
Yeah.
And so it would just happen, and then that one time I saw you, and you talked to Butch, and I knew Butch from working out at football with him, and I was just like, okay, so this guy's cool. Like, I'll go talk to him. And that's how we met up, and I was like, dang, it's always
Small
cool.
world.
Oh yeah,
That's so funny.
it's a very small world, super small world. No, but what else we got on the student section vibe?
Honestly, thinking back to all of your guys' planning makes me just chuckle and remember that we were. Literally, people would just show up with props and everything. It was just someone had a good idea, and
You just do it.
yeah, they were like, "This is what's gonna happen at this time." And just
See, I was
spur of the
just-
moment, kind of.
I was a student section leader at my school, and I wanted to be that school. Like, I
Yeah.
tried so hard, but everyone else in the student section thought I was, like, so lame. And I'm like, what the heck? Like, if we're going to have a good time, let's make it a good time.
Yeah, make it good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess that's when it starts too. Like our year was kind of one of the first years to really get
Yeah.
in to do it. Cause
I guess it also
it hadn't
depends on
been
how
a thing
good
for
your
a
football
while.
team is.
I think that was only the second. It was like the third or fourth year of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So real quick, for anyone that doesn't know, Battle of the Fans was a MSHAA event where you'd send in a video about your student section. I probably should have started with this, but we'll get to it now. You send in a video of your student section just cheering for your team, sportsmanship, all that good stuff, and then they pick 5, and then they come visit those 5 schools at one of the events, and then they do interviews with you and everything, and then there's like a social media voting process, and then they pick the winners. And it's usually people that pick them are like other students. So this leads me to another cool story. There was one of the advisors, like I said, like student advisors that like judged those boards or whatever, judged those videos. And I got a couple buddies that I knew from work, and I went to a little lake house party. And I started talking to one of them. His name's Aaron. He actually coaches in like Arizona now, like Arizona University. But he was one of the people that was on the board.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, and then I told him, I was like, yeah, I'm from Beaverton, blah, 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 blah. And the first thing he said was, oh, are you Spencer Johnston? Because Spencer Johnston was like a big basketball player in Beaverton at the time. And I was like, no, that's my best friend, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, oh, okay, cool. And I looked at him, I was like, okay, he's part of the student section, he'll know this. I was like, I'm the one that does the slide before the games. And he looked at me and he's like, wait, do you have to get like wet for that? Like, do you like you literally slide on your belly before every game?
That's his first thought.
Yeah, into the crowd, and I'm like, yes, that's exactly what I do. Like, we shuffle around in a big circle, like before every game. Like, that's how we start. And I will literally sprint as fast as I can and like slide on my belly into our team, and they all catch me before I hit the bench. And he literally at that moment pulled out his phone and texted and snapped like 5 of the other people that were on the board with him, and he's like, I just met Beaverslide. And I was like, you gotta be
You have a
shitting.
name.
Yeah, like I am semi-famous in the student section world, which I
That's
thought
funny.
was freaking hilarious. But no, like obviously again, just small world and how that all worked out. That's awesome, dude. I can't believe I remember that story. But no, shout out to Aaron if I ever see you again. I haven't seen him since then, but hopefully he's doing good. No, dude, that's crazy. And like the fact that, like you said, it was earlier in your process of doing the Battle of the Fans. That was obviously our second year, so we knew what we did wrong the first year. Like we
Yeah.
could tell. But then we came back and we, obviously did what we needed to do, and that was our junior year, and we won it. And it was super surreal going to like Michigan State and like being on the court and being on there. And they actually asked me. They told me, they're like, do you want to like? I asked them if we could do the Beaver Slide on the court because we never got to go like play at the Breslin. And I was like, dude, I'll wear a practice jersey and we'll do that as we get the banner, and then I'll slide into like the spot and we'll take the picture and we'll be done. And they're like, no, we can't do that on the court and stuff like that. I was like, dang. Like our coach asked too. Our coach is like, dude, can we please do this? Like we would love it.
It's our thing. We need this.
We need this. Like let us do this. But yeah, it was a process. So then after high school and everything, what'd you do? Went to college?
Went to college right away. Went to Central Michigan University. Stayed in the dorms. Gotten a leadership advancement scholarship
There you
thing, and it was kind of a program that like 40 students at the time. We all kind of took the same UP classes, So that made the first 2 years pretty easy to be able to study with everyone and be on the same schedule. And fast forward a little bit from junior, senior year, and then a fun 5th year, Victory Lap.
Yeah.
Got to student teach in the middle of COVID, and I just took my first job in St. Louis, Michigan.
St. Louis.
Yep.
Sick. What do you teach?
3rd through 5th grade MOSI, so it's a special ed program.
There you go. That's cool. Yeah, that's awesome. Because when I was talking to one of my friends back at Beaverton schools, I told her that I possibly would want to get into teaching, and she said if you do special ed, you're like in. Like, is that how it is?
Definitely. I mean, there's a need for a lot of teachers now
Yeah.
in all different curriculums and core subjects. But especially special ed for the longest time, and especially a male going into special ed. Not that it is anything more special or anything but
Yeah.
like that, but just there's a need for it. A lot of times, like, young individuals in the classroom, they don't have male role models, or vice versa, they don't have female role models. So
Yeah.
having to have that option of sometimes the teacher is a better fit for an individual in a similar other MOSI classroom of the same age, but they might have the needs that can be more sufficiently met at another school, and that just gives the district options and
Yeah.
kind of makes them more available to meet all those kids' needs.
Yeah.
Which is kind of fun because everyone gets a different relationship with every different student.
Oh yeah.
Not that one's more important than the other, but you just kind of figure out who you can touch, and then you have supporting staff, paraprofessionals in the classroom that maybe you don't connect as well with one student, but they're right there to pick up the slack, and
Yeah.
that's what makes the team fit in a classroom instead of being a solo teacher up front. You can kind of have people to pick up the slack where you lack, and vice versa for them.
Yeah, that's sweet. So like it was your first week this week? How did that go?
Last week
last
was the first week, but that was just professional development.
Yeah.
So we sat in. We had a lot of speakers from an autism clinic, actually down in Arizona. I forget his name. I think it was Jimmy Harris.
Yeah.
But he runs he's the director of the autism program down there, and they actually have the first university that's specifically in making a program for individuals with autism to go to school there, and kind of like regular degree, whatever they want to do, whether it be teaching, education, sciences, or engineering programs. I know he touched on the engineering program and how they have a lot of very successful individuals in there starting up it was started up the summer program, I believe.
It's kind of sad how long that took to like.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and there's
like
been
that.
other programs. I have a cousin out in Washington, and there was a program for individuals with disabilities. He's a cognitive impairment, and he got an opportunity to go to like a separate school. It wasn't incorporated in a public like university, state
Yep.
university, but at least he was getting like working towards his degree to there when he can transfer into a university.
Yeah.
So they still had that option, but it's cool to finally be incorporated in a state university.
He just is licking himself on them.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. So like an actual college for kids with autism.
Yeah, but I mean,
And it
it's
would just-
it's a
but
regular college, yeah,
yeah.
down in Arizona, and they just have a program to help support those individuals with any
And he needs that.
accommodations or modifications that's needed to
That's
get them on
awesome.
the same gen ed track and same degree, and just like it can be, because I mean they're proving that it works.
Yeah. I've never heard of that. That's awesome.
Yeah, so that was cool. That was like one of the talks, and then there was other programs led by like our own staff that was just kind of like, in layman's terms, tips and tricks and how to
Yeah.
navigate some of the programs that we have to use, like with our ed plan and how we do our students' IEPs, and also how to like write proper IEPs, just like updates that doesn't hurt to get new tips and tricks, and the verbiage changes year to year on different labels and different categories, and also just kind of staying up to date with the objectives and goal setting. All the state requirements change, so
Yeah.
kind of,
Just getting that first little.
and it gets you so you
refresher.
don't get in a rut and you don't stay on the same track. Like, it's good to change things up in the classroom.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you always got to learn something new. So then so that was your first professional week. What was this week? Did you
This
have
week was
class?
technically an off week, but they a lot of schools, due to like a lot of weather delays,
Yep.
they give you these things called bank days. So you can go in and you work. It's not on your contract, but you're just banking a day that if we have over the allotted weather days, then you don't have to come in those extra days if the state demands,
Oh, there you
because the
go.
students' hours are met, but our contract hours aren't met.
Yeah.
Because we have more days that we're in the school district than the students are.
I didn't know that.
So it kind of gives you like a little perk. But I mean,
Yeah.
if you do have to go in at the end of the year, you're kind of just doing regular routine cleanup. So all in all, it's not like it's the end of the
Huge
world
deal,
either
yeah.
way, because usually teachers need to be in extra days in the start of the school year to get ready, and they're usually cleaning up a few days after the school year,
Yeah.
getting things
what
set for the
happens.
summer.
So, what got you into teaching? What made you want to pursue that goal?
Well, I feel like that's always the best question. What got you into special ed? The answer is kind of not always changed, but I think the biggest lead into that life of just being around individuals with special needs was my buddy was adopted, and in his home he had other brothers and sisters in the same situation that, like, I believe he was one of 9, and the other 7, there was like him and his older sister, and then all the other ones had special needs. So like going over to his place just one time and seeing everyone and all the needs that need to be met, and like that family like doing all that and supporting
Yeah.
all those kids, really helping them out. That was really cool. And then in freshman year, because I only went to middle school for 1 year, and then I went to high school. I was at a Lutheran private school before, so
Gotcha.
my twin sister and one other kid in my grade, 3 kids growing up in a small country school, there wasn't a lot of exposure to anything like that. So kind of just seeing that, I was like, oh wow, there's like a whole nother world out there, a whole
Yeah.
nother demographic. And then I got into the Links program. A lot of high schools have it, and did that all 4 years, multiple trimesters throughout, and really just started liking doing that. I mean, I feel like a lot of people always just enjoy helping people
Yeah.
and find a job that doesn't really feel like you're working, kind of a cheesy saying,
But yeah.
you get to go in. Every day is different with special ed. You might be getting puked on one day right in your lap. You thought a kid was laughing, and nope, that was some gurglies coming up. But everything happens, and it just makes it really entertaining and really easy. So once I kind of did some observations in college, and I was just, after the first semester, I was like, yep, I'm going to stick with that.
Yeah.
And then once you get into something for a
Enough.
5-year degree, it's kind of like, even if you had some regrets, it's like, you know what, just keep going. Not regrets, but concerns moving forward. Like,
Yeah.
is this what I want to do?
Yeah.
Which goes into a whole other conversation. But
Yeah, no, what's crazy, like that you said, is like that experience when you were a kid was kind of like the fact that you can still remember that, like going to
Yeah.
your buddy's house, like obviously that meant something.
yeah,
So like explain that, like walking into there and like, I don't know, like how why is it more so that you still remember that?
yeah. And once to finish that, not
Yeah.
the regrets, but the concerns moving forward, it's kind of just reassuring, though, every time you get back into the classroom, it's like, oh, this is what I want to do. But when you're
Yeah.
doing the education side of it, you're like regretting, like, this is like, it's a lot of methods, it's a lot of if, ands, scenarios
Yeah.
that like isn't realistic. And then you get into the real life, and it's like all these situations, like, well, they do come up, the ones that were mock trials before, but it's
Yeah.
like, it just makes it more entertaining, and not, instead of it being just a scenario and you see it over and over, and how
Yeah.
repetitive college classes get. So, but yeah, every time you get back in person, it's reassuring to you like what you're doing.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, going back to what you were asking, I guess to think just why that stuck with me would, I don't know, one of my closest friends at the time. So I guess going over there and seeing like his daily life compared to my daily life, after having one friend and my twin sister in my grade all growing
Yeah.
up, like didn't necessarily get out a lot other than like sports, but
Yeah.
we lived way out in the country and didn't like go into town to hang out with the other kids a lot, because we had a lot of activities to do. We grew up
yeah.
on a farm, we had stuff to do, and brothers and sisters, you get entertained very easily, or you just get in a lot of fights and get yelled at by ma. But yeah, I guess that just the comparison from the different lifestyles was really like a mind shift, kind of
yeah.
eye-opening kind of thing.
It's sweet though. It's cool that you can like understand that at a young age and then be like, okay, like I want to change that somehow, or at least help it
Yeah,
along.
and I don't even think at that point I thought about changing or wanting to teach or anything like that. I always liked taking things apart and fixing iPhones and laptops and TV screens, so that's what I thought I was always going to do.
Yeah.
Until like high school, and just hanging out with my buddy more and hearing his stories. And funny story about that, his sister that had special needs was in my one of our Links students, so I was paired with her in high school at one point.
Yeah.
So that was the Links program that kind of got me interested in special ed, this and that. And I'm in my final student teaching placement almost 9 years later, after freshman year of high school to 5 years in college. And that student is now in a different program, Better Need or Needs, in the program that I'm student teaching at. So
Holy
it's like
crap.
9 years later, and I walked in the room, the front, like the first day, right through the front door, and she was sitting right there in her wheelchair, and she like started shaking in her wheelchair, and she like recognized me, and
Yeah.
I was like, "Hey, how you doing?" and asked how her brother was doing. She got all excited, and she has an AAC device, which helps her like communicate through like a program on an
Yep.
iPad, and she spelled out my name and was like Jake and did all that. She got very, very successful with that device. She was our best communicator in our class, so that was cool to see.
Yeah.
She didn't even have that when we were in high school. So like to see her go from
From
nonverbal,
yeah,
like non-communicative as much, to being able to navigate that device was pretty cool.
Yeah, and the 9-year difference of just
Yeah.
you starting a new thing, and then all of a sudden she's there, and it's like,
Yeah.
oh, okay, this is
Yeah,
cool.
takes you back full circle kind
Yeah,
of thing.
It
dude.
makes you feel like you're doing the right thing.
Yeah, that's
It's kind
yeah.
of that moment. It's just like, okay, well, like
This
you
was
said,
meant to be.
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
just
awesome.
small ass world. Like
Yeah.
wow.
yeah, dude, it always is a small world. Yeah, that's sweet. And now, like,
6 years later, you still recognize me.
yeah,
Like,
you get to. So now you're at St. Louis, teaching there, and we obviously hung out at the bar, and we got talking about like van life, and I want to get into this because this is obviously it's gonna be fun, but like you want to do van life, you want to
Yeah.
like how
I guess before I gotta ask you,
Yeah.
is this van life and like is this what started kind of the podcast theme? Then is that what way you want to? Or have you always been a podcaster, whether you're going to be sitting at home or living in a van?
I've always been a talker.
I can see.
Yeah.
Someone can relate. Ooh.
No, it's always been a talker. Always been like at those basketball games. Like I wouldn't leave until the last person left. Like
Yeah,
I'm not
people to see, people
as
to talk
long as
to.
as long as someone else is here, I'm gonna chill and hang out for a little bit. But no, the whole podcasting I think was it was just something that I could do on the side or do something that I could easily start and not have to really put much work in. I just show up with a mic and just talk to people. But the van life part of it was I wanted to go out west, and then I ended up with the situation where I got the van I did, and it was a lot nicer and a lot more than I ever thought I was going to ask for. And then the idea started coming up about podcasting. I was like, well, if I do it now, I got to do it when I go out west.
Of course.
And like if I do it while I'm in like out west, it's just going to be so much more fun. And it's really going to take me out of my shell to talk to people. Like if I want a podcast, I have to find people. Like you can't just
Well, not only
expect
that,
people.
but in a new place out west,
Yeah.
you're not gonna know many people, so that's one way of meeting new people.
forcing myself
Yeah,
to do
exactly.
it. Like hey, like I have
And you
this
probably
thing.
want to get a presence too, because
Yeah.
you go out west, no one knows you. It's like I don't want to go talk to this
yeah,
straight.
I
Like,
don't want to podcast with people. I
who
don't
who
know.
are you? Like
Yeah.
they don't. Yeah.
And what's crazy is that like I have so many people that I've podcasted already. This is probably about I think my like 10th or 11th one roughly. But like the
Don't
people
even know my number.
No, I don't know anyone's number. I don't. I wish I put numbers on them. But we got into that, and like the people I've already done have like the stories, like let alone just the stories you've told already. They're crazy. Like I had a guy that was on Price is Right. I had a guy that was a musician out in Nashville. I got another guy that was a surfer bodybuilder out in California. Like it's you'd never really know
It's unique,
who's,
not
yeah,
even like crazy. It's just like everyone's got a.
everyone's got their niche.
You talk to a lot of people, you hear a lot of crazy things,
Exactly.
unique things, and it's interesting.
And you don't hear them unless you sit down and talk to them.
Yeah.
So like, I don't know. That was the whole thing to just get out west and try to meet people and see what I can do.
It's even like it's just having a meaningful conversation with people because
Mm-hmm.
we meet so many people like day to day, but it's just like, hey, what's your name? It's
Yeah.
not. It doesn't get deeper than that.
Yeah. You
And
don't
if
really-
that's all you get out of it, you got basically a whole recording, and that's in there for life and
Yeah.
grandkids
memory.
and kids. Yeah,
Exactly, and that was one of my big
verbal
things.
journaling.
I can take this and be like, okay, I remember this podcast I did with the kid, this guy, and like he taught me something.
Yeah.
So I get it like down the road I have kids, down the road I have anything I mentor, or anyone I mentor or whatever. I'm like, hey, it's not just me saying it. Listen to this kid say
Yeah,
it.
you
blah,
should
blah,
hear
And
blah.
this,
life's long, you
yeah.
forget shit. Sometimes
Yeah.
it's nice to hear it over again.
Yes.
And I think hearing other people's stories like makes people want to be better, makes people want to improve. Like it's one thing coming from your friend, but when you hear someone else's
Doing it,
perspective,
yeah.
it's like it changes.
Mm-hmm. It changes just how you look at it.
Yeah,
'Cause
exactly.
It's like there are other people out here doing stuff that you also want to do,
Mm-hmm.
and they're doing it at the same level.
It makes you realize,
You
oh,
would've
I
done
can,
it.
yeah,
Yeah.
I can do it if I want to. It's
And if
more
it's something even
achievable.
different that you don't relate to, you don't got to understand it, but you still get to hear it and
Yeah.
Yeah, that
take
perspective.
something. You get someone else's perspective that you probably never would have.
Never would have even known.
Yeah.
Yeah. No,
Whether it's a good one, bad one, it's
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 there.
something,
It's,
yeah.
it's there. No, it's gonna be a journey. I can't wait. So
when
like
do you leave?
October 7th.
October 7th.
October 7th. Me and my brother are outie.
That's awesome.
I
I'm
cannot wait.
extremely jealous.
October 6th, my brother goes to National Guard, basic training.
There you go. He'll be on the move too.
He'll be on a different adventure.
Yeah.
Different West.
No, but let's get back to what were we talking about?
Van life.
Van life. Yes, thank you. See, this is why you got that journal.
Well, I got a good memory.
Good.
I feel like I'm pretty good at memory, memorizing stuff. And
So van life, what made you want to do it, or what like even interests you about it? Like, what's the meaning behind it for you?
Well, I think it's funny. My dad dad's yelling shit at you all the time. I loved Chris Farley growing up. My dad, all the guys in our house liked Chris Farley. Funny guy. But I think we brought that up. I was like,
Yeah.
"You like Chris Farley?" We were at the bar. You're like,
fucking
"I love Chris Farley." We're playing Bago.
Yeah. You gotta love Chris Farley.
Yeah,
Oh
that
my
always
God.
makes it. Makes it. You know, someone likes Chris Farley. You know the kind of humor they like.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Van down by
anyways,
the
so
river.
living in a van down by the river, my dad would always say that. He's like, "You're gonna be living in a van down by the river," and I guess that I kind of always put it in my head.
Yeah.
But growing up more and more, getting into college and living in town, because I always lived out in the country, and I realized how much I really always want to live out in the country, and got to do more solo camping and camping with friends in college. Got a tent and some gear finally, instead of just camping in the pop-up with mom and pa.
Yeah.
So that was really fun. And I guess just realizing that, like, I want to keep doing this, and whether I can do it in the summers, like when I have off from
Yeah.
teaching, or make it like a realistic
Yeah.
goal to be able to get a nice enough van to actually live out a van and still be able to operate successfully, like going into a classroom, like you got to bathe in the morning, you
Yeah.
got to or figure it out somehow,
Basic
shower the night
necessities, yeah.
before, but also keep my dress clothes nice and not abuse anything from the school. Like, I'm not gonna
Yeah.
I can't go in and
Use their
use their
showers.
facilities. I mean, I'm in an elementary school. There's not even showers, but like, I don't want to
Have to
clash
rely.
my work life with my personal life, because I
Yeah.
think that just kind of brings a burden on both from the
Yeah.
same factor.
Yeah. Because you don't
unless
want-
you can figure out how to make your personal life your
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the other thing. Yeah, there's a lot of outdoor education facilities and other routes you can go, but that's all down the road. I got a really good gig now, and get some student loans paid back and get some
Figure
money
that
to
out.
get a nice van and possibly do
Exactly.
that.
No, I mean, it's all a process, and that's what I've learned throughout the whole thing. Getting a van, it's just like you got to get some shit in order before you get out there.
Don't always
because,
want to
like,
rush it, otherwise
yeah.
it's not going to be a fun trip.
Yeah, like we're doing the cabinet. The cabinets are getting done right now as we speak. Actually, the kitchen and everything. I'm worried about the kitchen, because it's like, if I don't have a kitchen, what am I gonna do? I
You're
don't.
not gonna
yeah.
have food.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not gonna I don't even have a microwave. Like I
Yeah.
need.
And you got
like,
a
the whole
test run.
setup.
You might have a kitchen. Do you have a functional kitchen?
Yeah.
Is
Do I
it-
have the
Yeah.
Do you have the lines? Let's
Is
set
it
up right?
working?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. No, it's definitely gonna be a process to get it all working. Dang. No, van life is crazy, and like just obviously you don't know what it is until you do it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna have a clue until
You're not gonna know the next problem.
That's
That's
kind of
gonna
why I
happen
want a
until it
trial run.
happens.
Not that I
Yeah.
think I'm into it enough that I would enjoy
Yeah.
it, but if I set road for knowing I have a year and I haven't really tested the waters yet,
Yeah.
it might be
You might be
looking
in for
like
it
much more of a
month
burden
one.
than a trip. Yeah.
And that's so I'm going for roughly a month longer if we can make it work.
Mm-hmm.
But it's literally going to be going out to Cali and back and up the north side, or either north first, south first, whatever, but out and around. And that's the thing, that we're only going to go for a month or two, and then we're going to come back because I'm with my brother. But like, that's what I'm really hoping, that it's going to give me enough of a realization on if I can do this full time. Because the next goal would be to move out there
Mm-hmm.
and get a job and be like, okay, well, I'm gonna get a job, but I'm gonna live in this van.
Mhm.
like,
Yeah.
and I'm not gonna pay for that California, like
And you can
rent
make
and
it.
stuff
It's pretty
like-
functional out
yeah.
there too. I feel like there's a lot of places
That you can-
a lot more of a lifestyle out there.
Yes.
A lot of people are doing it.
And that's what I think too. And hopefully,
My
maybe
buddy
I can
moved to
make that-
California, and his coworker lived out of her van and worked at the microbrewery.
yeah,
Yep. I met her. I went out there, and she was bar backing with my buddy, and I just sat at the bar and
yeah.
got me this nice discount and tried all their foods and their different IPAs, which were pretty
Good.
good. But yeah, she was telling me about that life, and it was just pretty interesting to see how she could function out of that. But she was also like, it's also depending how far you want to go into it. Like she
Yeah.
was deep into it. Like she had it all set. I mean, she had her dreads, so like she only has to wash a certain amount. Like she
Oh.
dove deep into the lifestyle and like depending on how much if you
wanna
want that,
do,
do you
yeah.
want regular or do you want weekly bathing? Like are you shower? Like she says, oh yeah, I just go out and shower in the ocean a lot of times. Like so how committed
How
to
committed are
the
you to the lifestyle?
yeah. And not even committed, just what you want. Like it's got to be functional for you because you're not going to last a month if
You can't do it. You don't want to do
if
it.
you don't want to do what you
Yeah.
need to do, what you
Yeah.
plan to do.
Yeah.
But we also met we went camping, Hope and I, probably around, that was in May, yeah. So a couple months back,
It was
and
my birthday.
I had passed a van on the freeway right before the exit.
Yeah.
They were pulling off in Mackinac City doing camping on French Lake.
Yeah.
Nice little spot, free camping. You just got to mark your site down. There's only 6 sites. But it's really nice because it's probably kept up like 3-4 times a year. The trails are cleared enough, but
Yeah.
it's on a beautiful lake and really quiet. Not a lot of people know about it.
And you just go up there and chill.
And yeah, there's usually like 1 or 2 other people. But the van that we had passed, I come down, we see site 1. I'm like, me, of course, I got to see all of them because
Yeah.
we'd been there in the winter, but we ended up getting there in kind of like a snowstorm.
That's how the first time we actually hung out. We went camping in
Yeah.
the winter together.
It went in a snowstorm, and we
Yeah.
got stuck multiple times. But long story
Smart
short, didn't even camp on a campsite, so I wanted to check all of them out this
Yeah.
time. So we finally say, I drove on the dune and set up camp. This is the actual trail to the campsites.
Yeah.
So we check out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and we're looping back, and I have to pull off to the side because this van that we passed was going down and checking out the campsites.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, they're doing the same thing as us. That's funny.
Yeah.
So we pull into one. We're setting up our tent, and I've got an instant pop-up tent, little cheat. If we
Yeah.
got the car right next to us, why
Yeah.
not? Pops up in under a minute. We got the tent set, and they pull in, and they're like, oh, you could see them like through the dash. They're just kind of like, oh, darn, we were gonna do this one, but
Yeah.
dude must have thought the same thing. Like,
Yeah.
hey, let's check out all of them. And I shout out real quick because their windows are down. I'm like, you guys are more than welcome to set up camp here with us. Like, there's plenty of room. It was a big campsite.
Yeah.
I'm getting the fire started right now, and so they were super friendly. They got out there like, oh, that'd be awesome. And they were camping out of their van. And I just thought they were camping out of their van. And then they come up to the fire later that night after they pulled their mountain bikes off and went on a nice trail ride, which is smart. If I ever do the van life, I gotta have some bikes on the back because
Yes.
that's so much easier to just
Explore.
park and
And go,
explore
yeah.
around,
Yeah.
even if you're in town.
Cover more.
Yeah. But yeah, they were telling us how they just set for the van life for a year, and there was like their first week into it, like week 1.
They were from like Maryland and Virginia, and they came straight to Michigan.
Yeah, they just kept driving throughout the whole week and just kind of stopped a few places along the way. But they were saying how after this we want to
Go to the UP.
go to the UP and then like slow down a little bit.
Yeah.
So they kind of, because they already had seen the East Coast a lot being in that area.
Yep.
So they kind of just trucked through and we're like, so what's your plan? Like, well, luckily our parents and everyone kind of supporting us got us a bunch of like, it wasn't MREs, but like a brand of those, and that's pretty much what they ate. And they mentioned like we can go out to eat if we want to get a nicer meal. They've got people they want to see, so
Dang.
that was kind of their plan. I think they're more so going to like sites around, and then if they
Yeah.
find one,
Stick around.
stick around for a little bit, and then kind of set up plans to
Have
see
no
friends
plan,
along the way.
Figure it out
Yeah.
along the way.
It sounded like they wanted to make some stops to where they could not necessarily stay someplace, but like stay and see some people. So I
Yeah.
think they'd get out of
little-
the van a little
yeah.
bit, especially
Yeah.
at the start, give them some relief.
Yeah.
But yeah, it
'Cause it's gonna
seemed like
be-
a good plan. But it was just so funny to see him week 1, and me and Hope were just like, God, wish we
wanna
could
do
be
it,
doing that
yeah.
right now.
Week 1, ready to go.
Can't really camp too well out of the Ford Fusion.
Or the bug.
That'd be that'd be even tougher. Dude, there's some. Have you ever seen those bugs with a trailer hooked to the top of it? You ever seen that on YouTube?
No.
Oh my god. There's a bug, and it's literally like the trailer like curves over it, and it
That's
connects
so
to it connects to the
There
top
we
of the
go.
bug.
No
So
kidding.
then, like when you drive and you turn or anything, like it can't, like there's no way it touches because it's connected to the roof. And like to back it in, you literally just turn the thing, like you. It's
That's
crazy.
awesome.
I think there's only 2 ever been made or something, but
That's
it's
insane.
nuts.
I was in Petoskey last weekend for a wedding, and we pull up in the gas station, my dad and I, and this guy pulls up on his motorcycle, Harley, nice bike. Don't know bikes, but it was a nice bike. And he's got a little like camper trailer, hauling behind his motorcycle, and it was literally like a little. It looked like a full bed. It had an AC unit on the top, windows on the side. His curtains were pulled back. You could see in the window, and of course I'm Snoopy, and
Yeah.
I wanted to see what it was. And he had a little shelf there, and he like pumping gas, and he's like, "Yeah, just got it about a couple months ago, and just testing it out. Take it out on the weekends. Just pulls over wherever he wants, anywhere he can
Nice,
park, public spot, and he just pops in the back, sleeps there. He's got his clothes there." And he
Dang.
goes, "Yeah, I know enough people around the area. I just kind of go around and shower when I need to. So you always can stop at the truck stops."
Yeah.
Like,
There's
that's
plenty
awesome.
of options. There's plenty
Yeah.
of options. And to be able to do that out of a motorcycle would be like, that would be living the life. Like you are one with everything at that point. Like
Yeah,
that'd be
that'd be
awesome.
tough though, because I mean,
Oh, for sure. But still.
you get caught in a rainstorm, like you're just limited to your travel a lot more. Like he's got to plan a little bit more.
Everything. You
But
gotta-
it didn't sound like he was going too far of
far, yeah.
distances.
No, that's cool. Just the lifestyle of van life, and like I think
Getting unique. I would like
yeah,
so many options with whatever vehicle
whatever
you
you
have.
yeah whatever you want to do, and like just like you said, like the people you meet. If you're gonna meet someone in the setting of van life, like out and camping and stuff, like you kind of already know the person because you are the person, and there's only a certain people that are gonna
It's so much easier to relate to.
that are
them.
gonna do van life,
Yeah.
and that's gonna be people that are very open, very like
Same path and a
Pat-
million
yeah,
different stories.
Exactly.
Exactly.
And just to be able to like once I get out west, I mean we're gonna stay at national parks and stuff and everything. I'm like, there ain't no way we're not gonna see van life. Like like we're gonna have to. And I wanna get to like I gotta search those out, but like those I wouldn't call them festivals, but like huge groups of like and they just travel.
They
And
do
I'm like,
have them. They
yeah.
have like groups on Facebook for
Yes.
it.
And
Yeah.
I'm sitting there, I'm like, I need to get in one of these groups and figure this out because I would love to just post up with like 20 other vans one
Yeah.
night.
Hang
Roadies.
out.
Just be like, this is gonna be it. It's crazy. No, my whole like van life has evolved mainly like what vehicle I wanted to be in because it used to be a truck.
See, I've always had Volkswagens.
Yeah.
Dream, Vanagon. Volkswagen,
Yeah, those
love
are so-
bus.
Those are so like
They're
vintage. They're
Pricey,
so
though.
I
pricey. They're so
love-
sick.
That's just dream though. Dream.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
if I ever was well off.
Yeah. No, and then like the truck, so you get the truck bed, you get that was the original plan, like the most basic. And then we got to like, okay, well, I need more. So like let's get a van, like a transit van, blah blah blah. And then I told my dad about the whole thing. And my dad was honestly the same thing as your dad, just like, okay, go have your trip and then I'll see you back home in a month and we'll get to fucking work.
It's
Like,
not realistic.
it's just
lifestyle.
like, yeah, it's not a realistic, you can't keep it up. And I'm like, oh, okay, whatever, dad. Like, but
But I think every dad just wants to see their
Yes.
kid with a stable job, and
Yeah,
it's like, why are you
yeah.
testing the waters? Why are you doing this?
He's
See,
like,
my
I-
dad's
yeah.
all for it. He's like
Good,
pushing me.
yeah.
He's like sending me
See ya.
vans and stuff.
Yep.
No, he just thinks like he wish he could do that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
yeah. No, I think a
And
lot more
different
people.
experiences,
I
yeah.
think a lot more
Well,
people
yeah,
do too.
My dad also drives like an hour and 45 minutes one way to work each day.
Yeah,
He just
so
loves where we live so much that, and
He's willing to say.
yeah,
But he's
Yeah.
also willing to drive, and if you get something like that, he probably wishes he could just
yeah.
pop in the back and stay the
good,
night if
stay
you
the
need
night,
to.
yeah. No, yeah. So like, my dad was the same way, and then one of our families right down the road from us, they are like big into the whole van life. They're a big family. They travel all the time. They ride motorcycles everywhere. They bought a van, a big one, the one that I actually have now, and then they bought a bigger one to take them because it was too small. So then my dad, literally after calling him and telling him like how serious I was about getting a van, like I want this to happen, blah 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 blah. Text me the next day. He's like, I found a van for you, and I was like, you mother, like, I was like, you got to be kidding me. So he's like, yeah, right down the street. There's a 450 old Dial-A-Ride van, and he's like, we can buy it like whenever we want. Like, it's gonna be like right around $9,000. He's like, you want to go halvesies on it? And I was like, yeah, I will. Because I was like, the thing already, like, it was like dream set, like big beds.
So your dad would have these. When you
Halvesies.
come home and park that, you think it's gonna get
That's
taken
what I'm.
away?
That's what. That's what we're coming to now. That was the.
You might like that. Now.
That was the last conversation we had. We were golfing one day, and I told him, I was like, "Hey, if I go on these trips and I get a job out west, like, I'm gonna live in the van." And he looked at me. He's like, "Well, what the hell? Like, what am I?"
Use that.
He's like, "I want to use that."
It's
And I
anything
was
like my dad though.
Yeah.
It'll be sitting in the garage for 10 years, and I'm gonna use it
yeah,
one day.
Yeah. I'm gonna do that. And it was just like, I'm like, Dad, and he has a business, so I'm like, you're gonna have to like go on weekend trips and stuff. I'm like, I'm trying to live in this thing.
Come visit me.
Yeah, come to Cali, come wherever I go.
Or
and,
my car from there.
Yeah, dude, and he's got a trailer already set up, to hook his Jeep up to the van, so he can
Nice.
take it up north, take his Jeep with him, and then do all that and whatever he needs to do. And I was like, dang, that's
That's life.
freaking- yeah.
Speaking of trailers, my brother keeps sending me these tiny home trailers, and that's like now.
Tiny homes with a.
If I'm waiting
Move.
5 years or 10 years to do van life, at that point I'm like,
Maybe
that could be
save
really
up.
functional and just
Yeah.
get a nice trailer. I mean, starting at 50 grand, depending on how much you want to put into it, probably
Mhm.
could do it yourself much cheaper.
Yes.
I don't think I would ever go to that
Attempt it,
extent
yeah.
and attempt that, just because I have the friends that could do it, but everyone's busy and like that'd be
Yes.
tough to want to be.
Exactly. I'm the same boat. Like I know enough people to where I could get this done.
Yeah.
But I'm at the mercy of my friends.
Yeah,
And I'm like, I don't want to be
exactly.
that guy that's just like, hey, you want to come work on this so I can leave?
But
or
you wait a
something?
little longer, save up, and I mean,
Friends
he just
help
sent me
friends,
one.
yeah.
He just sent me one that was 65,000, and it had everything set up. The only thing it didn't have was washer dryer. And it's like you stop at a laundromat, but it had a shower, had a huge tank on it. Like
Yeah.
it was off the grid with solar panels, so it was
Yep.
all self functioning.
Yeah.
And it's
the
like you just
self-sustained ones are what you
Yeah.
need. Yep.
And it's like you just park that wherever, and you still take your truck out or whatever you have. If
Yeah.
you have a truck, put some bikes or I
Yeah.
wanted to put like a moped in the back or something,
Dude.
be able to wheel around.
Wheel around, there you go. My buddy and me, the second trip we're going on, he's actually looking at motorcycles right now. Like there's an
Nice.
Indian Scout that he wants to get, and I was like, "You get that, bro, and we'll get a thing, and we'll tow that thing out west with
Yeah.
us." And like that's completely fine. And then he was joking. He's like, "I want to get a sidecar, because if I got a sidecar on like a nice bike,
Heck yeah.
could you imagine you and me rolling down like Vegas and like a car like that? Like,
Dude, I'd
or
so
a
have one
motorcycle?
for Ani.
yeah."
A little
Put the
sidecar.
dog in it.
She'd love it.
It'd be just funny. It'd be class. You don't see those.
No.
You never see those, and it would just be funny as heck.
Mhm.
I would and just two dudes. We
Yeah,
look like,
that I think
we
that'd
look
be
like
funny
Dumb
for
and
her,
Dumber.
yeah.
I'd have to get the glasses.
You gotta get the suits too.
Yeah.
With the
Just
long hair, I think you should do
Just-
that for Halloween.
Dumb and Dumber. I
You
need-
have the long hair.
I need the Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
What color does that guy wear? That guy wears blue.
He
doesn't
wears
he?
blue. The
Yeah.
Jim Carrey
Blue and
wears
pink.
orange.
Orange.
Yeah,
Yeah. Give me a blue suit.
great movie.
It is a great movie.
Okay, a little off topic, but have you seen shipping container homes?
Yes. Amazing.
I think this is the way of the future. I think this is amazing, and I think this is what everyone should be doing.
Yeah. It's
I
pretty
think
nice.
they're so smart.
Are you talking about just the shipping container, or have you seen like the
I've seen like shipping
deluxe
container
ones where it's
mansions.
like they're all
Yeah.
stacked?
They
and
cut them
angled.
out and weld them
Yeah.
together.
Yeah, they have,
It's like a
um,
normal home. It's just
Yeah.
the frame of it is.
Well,
a
and
shipping
you're
container.
recycling something first of
Yeah.
all, and they're pretty cheap.
Mm-hmm.
And like what I was gonna say is there is a show on Hulu.
Yep.
It's called like Shipping Container Homes or something, and they have tons of episodes. And I'm like, this is so smart.
So usable, so
Yeah.
friendly. Yeah, no, it's
They make the foundation just the same as like a regular home too, so you can still have basements and upstairs.
you can.
And you can actually they do since it's all a frame. They almost all of them have like top patios
Yeah.
and
Oh, I've
everything,
seen
so
that,
you can
yeah.
use more of the space
Space.
because it's all very super stable and.
yeah.
Then you just have
So
to
it's
buy
cool.
land, which is
I was just
usually
shocked
cheaper
because
than
they do
a
them like
house.
4 high, but they're just all so framed out that
It don't matter.
yeah. But I mean, it still gets pricey at that point. But I was
Yeah.
like, that's pretty cool. They can do that.
No. The living situation is definitely something I can't wait to figure out.
And I think the thing that's cool too with the shipping containers is you can start out with one, have a bed, and then once you have
Develop
money,
it.
you can add on and do
Yeah.
other things with it. You just
Yeah.
need a land and
the money to
Something
do
to live in.
Mm-hmm.
A bed.
That's all you really need.
That is
Yeah.
nice that you can start small and keep adding on easily.
Mm-hmm.
Very easily.
Yeah.
No, it's just yeah, dude, shipping container houses.
Sorry, I
look at-
totally
No,
got off
you're
track,
good.
but I had to say it.
I used to look at those. I used to look at tiny houses on trailers all the time. That was originally like that, even prior to the truck.
Yeah.
That was one of the things. My dad thought that was just the stupidest thing ever.
See,
He's like, well, where are you gonna put it? And I'm like, where can I
Your
put
backyard, Dad. It's better than your basement.
it? Yeah, exactly. Like I'm gonna find somewhere to put it, and it's gonna be easy. And like, I don't know. It's just definitely things to think about going it like further into life. All these things I never would have thought like how I would live, and I'm just like that seems so much more simpler than buying a big house. Like just buying a house and being able to have to like stay there. Like I don't want to have to stay somewhere.
yeah. In high school, we
Consistently.
had a business class, and we had to like make it was called VEI, and it was like virtual, and we had to make a business.
Yeah.
And I was the CEO of our business, and we made tiny homes. That was like what we sold. So
Yeah.
like you had to like make money in your business and buy from other people's like other schools' business to like sustain yours, because there was
Yeah.
like food you had to buy, water in order to like live your life. It was all fake,
Yeah.
but like it was
It was
just
throughout the
it
whole
taught
school.
you how to like
Yeah.
save and stuff. And yeah, we sold shipping tiny homes, like the basic Betty. We had these different ones, and ever since then, I'm like, it's the new American dream.
Yeah.
Schools' economic projects are getting way more intense.
It was
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
had it forever. It was really, and we went to like trade shows and met other schools and like had competitions for marketing and stuff.
We just had to buy a house and be under our budget.
Yeah.
I mean, it
Jeez,
was
I
like
think-
all virtual though, so it's like
Yeah, that
cool.
makes it easier.
We did like stocks and stuff. Like you would do the stock simulations in school. But
yeah. And if you took that class, you didn't have to take econ, so that was cool.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a fun project
Mhm.
instead of the.
And it kinda-
class.
It taught you more of what you actually need to do in life. You know what I
Rather
mean?
than,
Like
yeah.
buy what you need to
Sometimes
survive
the
and
verbiage
stuff.
confuses the
That's how.
overarching message in like the
Exactly.
textbooks.
Yeah.
That's my brain. Why can't you just put all the definitions in layman's terms? Like explain it to me
Like
in a
person,
conversation,
yeah,
not in a
yeah.
textbook. Like
Well, there's back to education. There's
That's
more
what- yeah.
schools coming out. Like there's a lot of different teaching methods and
yeah.
different ways.
There's
Like
two.
I feel like people are trying to encourage it more. I mean, it's still
hard.
it's hard. I mean, it's a state mandated thing.
Yeah.
It's pretty concrete, but
Yeah.
that's where you get new teachers and even old teachers going to these different. I mean, they have what do I want to say here? Not events, conferences
Yep.
that you can go to throughout the year, and just like the start of the year things to kind of get people a little more creative, because we're
Creative,
finally getting to the point too where we
Are allowed to
acknowledge
be.
they're like, hey, there's a lot of different types of learners. And I mean, you've seen education in the
Yeah.
last 20 years, just us growing up, seeing what we did in elementary school to now. It's like they just
The
try a
difference.
lot of different things,
A
and
lot,
they
yeah.
meet everyone's needs much more, because it wasn't
Yeah.
too long ago where when our special needs just kind of went somewhere else. They were segregated, and
Yeah.
they weren't really
Because that's how it was when
involved
I
in
was
the school, and it was more of a babysit situation. But we know more now, and we're at least doing more with it.
Heck,
Yeah.
my elementary school in my hometown, they like teach kids coding at a young
Yeah.
age. I mean,
Yeah.
it's something like we need. So it's crazy how like new jobs and everything have.
create that need for that in young. Like I think there's so much stuff that you could have been doing at a younger age. Like when I was a kid, school was easy. Like I just
It was
showed up.
boring.
I
That's
just
how
showed-
easy
yeah.
it was.
I
Yeah.
just showed up and I was gonna get an A. Like it, and I get it. Like from an educator standpoint, you have the ranges of kids. You have kids that
Yeah.
just don't do that, and you obviously have to go at their pace. Which
It was a routine, and
Yeah.
a lot of time, like in the past, like a lot of teaching models would be like teach to the median, and now they have so many other things that they're telling you to don't just teach to the median. You need to meet higher needs and lower needs as well.
Yeah.
So
Every kid's
every
learns
kid,
different.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's just like
just progression that we see throughout the years. Sometimes we wish it could come faster, and
Yeah.
other times it doesn't. But at least it's still progressing to some extent.
yeah, as long as you're making steps forward.
Progress.
Yeah.
But that's what's cool. Like you said, having the coding class, just having those other opportunities in school at a younger age would be a lot more beneficial.
Yeah.
Especially, I think language too. I think that, and now being like where I'm at, like music wise, like I'm trying to like learn how to play guitar, and I always bring this up, but like I just wish that education at a younger age, like you would have done, like
You had
Not-
the opportunity to
I wouldn't even say
that?
opportunity, because now we're getting, like, obviously
You
every-
had that, yeah.
everyone has the opportunity to be in band, but guess what? If you play sports, you don't want to be in band.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And now,
You
looking
know-
back at it, I wish I would have been in band.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't care what instrument I played. It would have been a lot cooler to be able to play an instrument now
Yeah.
than not be able to play one. And it's just the social norms of, like, oh, like, I
There's
play
not enough
basketball, I'm
time
not
in
going
the
to
day
do
to
it.
do everything,
Yeah.
too. Like,
I mean, but is there? Like, if I
Yeah.
didn't take a gym class and I took a band class, it's just like, what am I missing? Like, I would only miss out on being in band during the football game that I'm in. Like,
You're
okay,
also
whatever.
a teenager, or 13 or 14 at the time, and you're
Yeah.
like,
you don't know. Yeah.
You don't know what
you're
you
doing
want.
the fun thing, the easy. You're not
Yeah.
looking
Mm-hmm.
at 10 years down the. Hey, do I want to be able to play the guitar when
Yeah.
I'm living in my van down by the river?
Well, and that's also
you
like
weren't thinking
yeah.
about that.
But
then.
now I do.
Well, and that's your parents' influence too.
Exactly.
Like,
Yep.
I mean, you
Yeah.
played sports, not
Not
you weren't
something
in
else, yeah.
band.
I don't know. And even parents' influence there, I don't know how much influence they have on me, because, like, I was in Boy Scouts, and then it was, okay, well, I got asked to play basketball. Boy Scouts and basketball, both on Tuesdays. And then my parents looked at me like, hey, it's your choice. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, see you, Boy Scouts.
Yeah.
I'm going to go play basketball. And, like, in that situation, the
Looking
kid,
back
like,
now, you probably would have stayed in Boy Scouts and would have learned a lot.
maybe.
At least for van life.
For van life, for sure. But no, like, as a kid, you obviously don't have that hindsight.
Mm-hmm.
And it would be nice to just be more diverse in what you learn at a young age.
Yeah.
Because then at least...
Which I think they're getting to that, because I mean,
Yeah.
at least getting to the point where they have more choices. Because I know, like, electives and things now, like,
Yeah.
schools are getting really creative and with their,
Yeah.
like, specials programs. And it's like, there's a lot more options
Yeah.
out there. Even our little private school, like, when I was in 6th and 7th grade, they started doing, and this was crazy, because we had gym on Tuesdays or something,
Yeah.
and
That
that
it.
was about it. We did art on Fridays once a month. It's a small
Once
school.
a month.
But they brought out, let you do a cooking class, a construction class, or an electrical class.
Yeah.
And yeah, there was a couple other options, but you got to choose one each. We had quarters, so you got to kind of rotate through all four. You could do another one, and we built like picnic tables for our little
Yeah.
church because it was a parochial school.
Yeah.
So it's cool that at least even the smaller schools are starting to get a little more options.
Yeah.
But it also just depends on funding in the area. Not a lot of people have the resources
money,
to
yeah.
give that option.
Well, and this also makes me think, like, you know, all your 12 years of schooling without college, you have these core classes that you take pretty much every year. What if schools would have allowed, like, instead of taking a history class this year, you were allowed an extra elective, you know? You had that opportunity to take other, like, things and spark different interest.
Because if they could somehow, obviously you have so much you want to learn, but like if the curriculum did get a little bit smaller in like a history sense, then
Yeah,
you
I
had
mean,
enough,
like,
or you could fit what you fit in into those 12 years or 11 years.
Yeah.
So then that 1 year off.
And I mean,
yeah.
you're talking about, this is years and years of conversation. Like, people argue this all the time with
Yeah,
education.
of course.
Yeah.
Well, and, like,
It's just what the state mandates, and I mean, where they're coming from, not defending it, but like what it is it's there because it's creating the overall what the state thinks that you need to know.
Yep.
They're not necessarily thinking of each individual's
Individual.
needs. They're just like, this is what you need
It's
to.
This
kinda-
is the basic
it's
knowledge.
tradition
yeah, this is
almost
yeah,
at this
it's
point.
where yeah,
Traditional, yeah.
it's just concreted into a traditional.
But, like, and I
path.
totally believe, like, we need to learn about history and stuff, but, like, personally, history doesn't stick in my mind. Like, I
Yeah.
remember events and stuff, but, like, I couldn't explain to you
Yes.
certain events, and, like, I wish I was able to do something where I would have been more beneficial,
Yeah.
you know?
And there's other
Or-
schools that allow you to do that. I mean, there's,
Yeah, for
but
sure.
they cost money and it's not always available to
Available to
everyone. But
everyone,
as
yeah.
far as, because if it's state funded, it's state
Yeah.
regulated, and that's what it is. Not to say it's a bad thing, but that's just
Just the way it goes.
the way it is.
The reality of it.
So
Yeah,
I always like to
everyone
think
thinks
too,
alike.
like, instead of how can you change what it is, because it's like, as a little man, you're probably not going to be able to change that much.
Yep.
Not to say that you can't, but it's like, think of what you can work with what you got, kind of
Yeah.
thing. Like,
Mm-hmm.
at least solve the solvables. I think a lot of times teachers are trying to
Solve the big
solve the
picture.
big problem. It's like, use what you like, still work towards that goal, but also don't freeze where you're at. Like,
Yeah.
work toward that and still make do with
'Cause
what
you-
you got.
you have
And a lot, every teacher does that.
Yeah.
Every teacher uses their resources and
In their own way,
gets
yeah.
creative and whatnot. But I
Because
don't
you
know.
have those students right now that,
Yeah.
that you can help.
Yeah,
And instead of just thinking about what, like, all the future,
you just hate to see a teacher get so frustrated that it starts to affect the kids. Cause,
yeah. You can
and that's
see
the
that,
tough
and
part,
kids can
yeah.
see that for sure.
Oh yeah, and that's the battle that every teacher has. Is
Yeah.
You might be as frustrated as you are of whatever that student's saying back to you, but again, they're kids. Like, remember what you said to your parents. I mean, I can think
Yeah.
of many, like, oh, I wish I wouldn't have said that a few years later, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, no,
they're
for sure.
impulsive.
Like,
Everyone, it's just part of growing up. But yeah,
dang.
teachers just got to keep it calm and have a good day.
Yeah, I got one of the guys I coach with over in Beaverton. I'm pretty sure it's same age group. I think at third or fourth, but I just love hearing his stories about. He's like, this little kid looked at me dead in the eye, and he said something, and I had no idea how he even knew that,
Mm-hmm.
and he completely just stunned me, and I didn't know I'm like, this fourth grader had me stumped. And at that point, I just had to be the teacher and say, okay, on to the next thing. But, like, it's
Yeah.
great. Like,
No, that's
Just-
It's
good,
crazy
like,
what the young mind thinks
Thinks
of,
of, yeah.
like, or how much they like realize what's going on.
And that's where you got to just choose how to react to that. It's like, you know what? I'm not like pick and choose your battles. If something needs to be confronted, hey, absolutely you got to confront it. But it's like sometimes things will happen and you just like look at it as a funny thing. It's like
Yeah. How
funny
did you-
story,
yeah.
like how just how so,
Yeah.
in education there's so many times it's just like, wow, you wouldn't even believe this story. And it's just funny.
It just happens.
But it's how you look at it too. It's some teachers get super frustrated about that, and others like your buddy just
Yeah.
laughing about it.
Yeah. No, I mean, at that point, like, when a kid gets you like that, like, what are you going to do? Because if you try to argue it, it's like, I already know I'm wrong. I
Yeah.
can't
Well, that's
argue
the
this
thing.
very
You
well.
can't argue with the child.
He's not
like,
gonna lie to him. I mean,
at that point, yeah, you just got to be the teacher. And all right, yeah,
moving on.
yeah.
moving on. Got me there.
So, obviously, you've had, like, educator scenarios with kids.
Yeah.
Has there been any, like, other than that one, like, girl that you said you met, like, after, like, 9 years or whatever, has there been any other scenarios where you're like, holy crap, like, that was pretty cool, teaching a kid like this, and this is what came of it? Or, like, you saw it down the road, like, them successfully doing something you taught them, or...
I think, yeah, I mean, definitely too, just because I worked in an SXI room for my student teaching, which I literally have barely any experience in teaching, so it's not like I'm speaking this as facts or anything, just what I know now, but
Yeah.
it's just like you just see progression in students, and it's just kind of a fun thing. I don't think there's one thing in particular. I worked with some very severe students, so it's not like you get to see huge progressions,
Yeah.
but you kind of at the end of the year, you're like, we have one student like just lost a bunch of weight, like the small things like that, like
Yeah.
he clearly was just more active, and a lot of times special needs students like are very inactive due to their disabilities or anything like that, so there is a lot of obesity with special ed, so it's just the small things like that, like
yeah.
take the little wins,
The little
like
vic- no, the little
even if
victories
someone
are
they didn't write their whole name, but hey, they got the like like any progression, I guess, is just super exciting to see
Yeah.
someone that severe still progressing, and kind of just like reassuring in the sense that like, all right, what I'm doing is working, and if you don't see anything working, try something new.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I think it's hard too, like, because for some of those students, like, places and things where you can be active don't always have, like, being super accessible. So, like, sometimes they can't even do the stuff that other people are doing to
because-
be active and
Yeah.
to lose weight or whatever they want.
Just
you
the,
know?
the availability of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, for sure. No, I see that, like, so just in coaching and, like, it's cool when you coach, like, a skill or anything, really, and all of a sudden it, like, just clicks.
It clicks,
It
yeah.
clicks, and it's like, and then there was the first year I ever coached, at Beaverton, I coached wide receivers, and there was this kid, he's actually a D2 baseball player now. He was, comes in, he's like, we already knew he was an athlete, and he was coming and playing wide receiver, and wide receiver is not a, like, easy position. There's a lot of nuance to it. And there was a couple days where, like, halfway through the season, he was doing certain drills where, like, he'd catch the ball, tuck the ball, and turn his shoulder up just to do it. And I looked at him, I'm like, dude, 2 weeks ago you didn't even know how to hold a football, and now you're catching it, tuck and run, and everything. He's like,
all the
yeah,
technical.
all the
natural,
all the
yeah.
little things, and I'm just like, dude, that's the stuff I like seeing too, because
Mm-hmm.
like it translates. You don't think it translates, but then it translates into everyday life,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like, dude, the little things are really all that
Yeah.
matter.
I always celebrate the little wins.
Yeah.
Like if I can do something successfully, because I'm not gracious at all. Like I fall all the time. So if I can do something
things.
successfully,
Drop
I'm
it.
like, heck yeah. Even cooking dinner at night, like it's just the little things.
Yeah, sometimes you burn the rice and sometimes you don't.
Burning, yeah. How do you burn
Burning?
rice? Don't know. Mm-mm.
That's awesome, burning rice. I do get scared sometimes. I don't like when it sticks to the bottom.
Mm-mm.
That's annoying as crap, because then you gotta
Burning rice.
you gotta clean it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the worst.
Oh man. So what
But
else?
yeah, back to like tying in the van life to the education. That's my question.
Yeah.
If anyone hears this, that is a van life man or woman that actually teaches in a classroom, that'd be interesting to
Teaching
Connect
in
with.
a
hear their experience. Like to go into school and teach in a classroom every day, but go home to your van. Like
Yeah.
to not have somewhere to go back, and if you're not doing your work in your office, or you're working in your van, and
yeah.
how the whole process goes.
So obviously you thought about it. So like, what do you think are like the main limiting factors for you doing it?
I think getting up and having a morning routine, like you're getting up and rolling out of your bed and like going to teach, or you're rolling
Yeah.
like not to be able to get up and walk around and wake up, like you're rolling out of bed, and I guess if you're wherever you're parked, but also figuring that out.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know, just having a functional lifestyle with
With that,
not feeling cramped. I mean, I'm a
Yeah.
big guy. I don't want to be
you don't want to be cramped. Yeah.
cramped.
Well,
and
there's
whatnot.
definitely like ways to do it. It's just like establishing that
Consistency.
routine. Yeah, like figuring your routine out
Yeah.
for your van life. You know what I mean? Like,
So, thinking on like those lines, when it comes to like routine, like you think about your routine every morning now. What like would it really be that different other than the
what would
amount of
change? Yeah.
other than the amount of walking you do from room to room? What would change?
I guess I just need my coffee thinking about it like that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like
and you know, there's
all
ways
you
to
gotta do
that.
is and honestly, you think about it, could be faster.
Yeah.
Could get you in like I know exactly what you're saying about morning routine and like waking up and just like just being there, you know, just like let me
And also
let me
just
relax
figuring
for a
out where
second.
you're gonna park and stay if you
Yeah.
can stay on the public
Yeah.
streets, and
Yeah.
having a vehicle that's like
There's a lot more
Big
Private-
stressors.
or-
Yeah.
or, yeah,
private
stealth
enough to
or-
want to stay on a public street.
It's not as easy.
Yeah, it's for sure not as easy. I think it's doable though.
It definitely.
I
is.
think you could do it. And like you were talking about earlier, what kind of education job could you get that would more so allow you to do that?
Oh, I mean, you could teach online, but I think that takes part of the fun of
Experience.
teaching
Teaching.
away.
Oh,
yeah.
for sure.
Just because like that's the enjoyable part, to get to see the kids every day, and
Yeah.
if you're just on your computer making curriculum and lesson plans and then doing paperwork that goes along with
You're
it,
doing all the stuff you already
you're just
don't
doing
like doing.
a desk job, which is exactly what I didn't want to do.
Mm-hmm. I'm in the same boat there. Like you always want that 9 to 5, that consistency, and it's like, yeah, but I also don't like that, and I feel like
that's
there's
what's
definitely
fun about special. You get a different story every single day, good or
Yeah.
bad.
it's something new.
Mhm.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think no matter what job you're in, if you look for it, you are going to find the little things that are good and bad. I work at Dunham's
Mhm.
over here, and I tell you what, you're in a situation where multiple people are coming in and out. Like, people are just weird and people are just funny. So if you walk around enough and you like pay attention, something funny is gonna happen, or some
Yeah.
situation like you're gonna deal with a customer and they're gonna say some stuff that they want to return, and I just laugh in their face, and like it's just like
It's what you make of it.
it's
really.
what you make of
yeah.
it, and it's
Just make
and
your
like
day entertaining.
Yeah.
and like you see, I don't know why I love to do this, but you see parents with little kids,
Mhm.
and parents are looking one way, kids looking at you, you make a goofy face,
Yeah.
and then the kids are just laughing, and the parent looks at them like, "What are you doing, like
Yeah.
you weirdo?" and then I see all that, and I'm like, I know what the parents thinking, I know what the kids thinking, I know that whole story. I just did that, and no one even knows. I'm already walking.
You made
back.
that kid's day.
Yeah.
You put a smile on that.
And it was
kid's
just
face. Yeah.
those are the little things that I like to do, and just I don't know, especially in teaching when you get kids like that. coaching is the same thing. It's same age group. Like there's the crap they say.
Oh, yeah.
What do you
So entertaining.
thinking
Very
about that?
creative.
Very. That's a good word.
Mm-hmm.
Creative. Because you don't know like how they got to that conclusion, or
Yeah.
I don't know. It's crazy, and just the I wouldn't say lack of knowledge, but the lack of experience
Yeah.
is always fun to see, because like they'll work on something and it'll be like a puzzle. I don't know, something along those lines, to where it's just all you gotta do is figure it out, and then you know how to do it, like riding a bike or something. And like the kids just struggle through it, just struggle, and it's just
Figuring
like,
out their process of
just,
elimination.
yeah,
or,
and it's just like, and you gotta let them just do it.
yeah,
Like,
they're,
you can't.
they're untangling
Yeah,
things. They're figuring
you just
it out.
gotta, You just gotta give them that space to figure it out, and guide them when they figure like the little movements, and you're just like, oh, that blah blah blah, this, like fix this, fix that, and then all of a sudden it clicks, and you can see the real, transition. And it's always fun to see that. I love seeing that.
I love, like, this is something I miss from when I was younger, like the imagination. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like, coming up when you have nothing to do, like, instead of sitting down and watching TV, I'd go build a fort. Like, do something that was, fun,
Yeah.
entertaining. Like, and nowadays, it's just, like, it's different,
Yeah.
Well, and it's not even that because your mindset like just changes. You grow up, you get more
Mhm.
mature. So, but you might not be creative in building a fort, but it's like, go do something. Like, what do you
Yeah.
enjoy doing? Like, go on a
Exactly.
walk or anything, and not just. I mean, you get in a good routine, but sometimes every routine, like
You need to throw
coming
a
home
bunch-
from work and
Yeah.
just sit down, like you can get kind of stuck in a rut kind of thing.
for sure.
Very easy, yeah.
But yeah,
No, I try.
keeping that kid creativity and
Yeah.
just going and doing random shit. It's fun.
That's what the podcast's for. I love sitting there and just talking to people. But like, what other things do you do just for fun? Just for fun?
Disc golf.
Really?
Got to disc golf.
You disc golf? Are you good?
Yes.
I wouldn't say good. I'm not bad.
Not bad.
But like,
What do you-
I'm
what do
never
you
going pro.
what
I'm
do you
not.
shoot? Kind of like just par.
Yeah, par,
Yeah.
par-ish.
See,
I'll have bogeys. There'll be bogeys, quite a few bogeys.
Yeah.
But
But
when you,
people don't realize though.
when you get a birdie here or there. It
You
helps
get-
when you play the same course over and over, and you can kind of
Yes.
know if you don't know where the pin is playing the course the first time.
No idea.
You should always walk the course, but we've never walked the course. But it's fun. You got to go search for your disc, and at the end of the whole thing, if you shot like crap, at least you got to go for a nice walk through the woods.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's awesome that you say that. I went through like a little disc golf phase for sure. Like right out of high school, one of my buddies, my neighbor, actually taught me how to play, and I was like, dude, I'm going to do this all the time. Cause like cheap, you buy a couple discs for like $40, and you're good to go. Like you
Yeah.
just go out there and
It
chill.
can get pricey though if you keep losing them.
Yeah.
That's true. You put your little phone number on the back of them.
Mm-hmm.
I've never had anyone call me back for mine, but it would be. I've called other people back for theirs. That's kind of a cool feeling, because then you're just like, hey, I'm gonna be here at this time. I'll drop it off at this. Just
That's
be
who you
there
should
grab
talk
it.
to. Some disc golfers.
Yeah.
The guys out there, they're just a lot of them are old. Like it's been a sport for way longer than I ever thought. Like
Yep.
I wish I would have known we had disc golf courses when I was freshman year of college.
Yeah.
Because I didn't start going until I'd already been done with school. Like just
Gotcha.
started about a year ago. And to put these guys out there, I've been playing for 20 years in their leagues. It's like a whole competition. Like it's a
Yeah.
small little town rivalry going on.
In like Mount Pleasant.
Yeah, right.
Dang, that's
right
awesome.
there, yeah. On the Deerfield Park courses, they do like I think it's league nights on Mondays or something,
Jeez,
and they have little tournaments. Pay to get in, get a payout. You get a payout if you hit an ace, a hole in one,
Yeah.
all different things. So that's kind of cool.
Have you ever gotten a hole in one?
No,
No.
no.
Never gotten like. Have you ever did like a long birdie shot or like?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
get some lucky shots here and there, and
Yeah.
you're like, holy shit, how did that happen?
Yes, dude. That happened once in Midland with me. I like shot under a tree, and I shit you not, I was waiting for the break, never broke. Went right at the thing, just tinged it. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. And then I was alone, so I was sitting there. I was like, dang, no one's ever gonna believe me.
Yeah.
I just hit it like 100-foot shot, just right on the money. Oh man, no, disc golfing used to be like a big deal. I used to take speaking of like kids, but my neighbor went to Bullet Creek High School, and I worked in Midland, so I would go pick him up from daycare. I'd tell his mom, like, hey, I'm picking your kid up, we're gonna go disc golf, and then I'll meet you at home. And then she's like, okay. I'm like, So I got there, just picked up this kid. We went disc golfing. I'm like, I'm hanging out with a 7th grader right now, disc golfing.
Having a
Oh,
And,
blast.
and he's kicking my ass. And I'm sitting there like, what is he'll make a shot and he'll look at me and he'll just be like 4, and I'm like, fuck, 5.
That's
And
what's
it's-
fun about disc golf too. I mean, as long as you got a good back, it doesn't matter what size you are. Like,
Yeah,
there's a pro, Emerson. He's like small little guy, and
Yeah.
he throws. I think he's like one of the top throwers in the world, like
Yeah.
for distance wise. And it's like, where does
Yeah.
that come from?
just skill,
Just, yeah,
just the skill of it.
figure out how it works for you.
That's
what's fun.
awesome. That's awesome that you brought.
And
disc
it's
golf
nice too,
up.
because like team sports aren't for everyone. Like if it's
Yeah.
it's not a super, like it's pretty mechanical, but it doesn't have to be a competition. Like
No.
just a fun thing to go
And like you said,
throw a
team-
frisbee and figure out how it flies.
like you said, like for individual sports, it's a lot easier to do individual sports when you're older and when you don't have the team camaraderie. You don't have the people that are just like, they don't have anything like, you don't have the schedules that people do.
Yeah,
So it's nice, like, and just, I mean,
go
Just
out when you can and
go out when you can.
play against yourself.
Mhm.
It's competition in itself. Just
Yeah.
you can keep score on different apps and everything.
Yeah.
And
And you can just kind of be alone. I mean, not if you're not alone or not, but like, you can kind of just be in your thoughts. Like you said, if you didn't play good, at least you took a good walk.
yeah.
And like, there are some pretty beautiful like courses. It's just like
Oh
golf.
yeah,
Like,
it's crazy
like
what the
you're
courses
walking-
that you're on.
you're walking through big like woods and like everything and like twisting and turning through stuff. It's nice. Though it's always inconvenient when you hit the trees with your disc, but
Breaking them in.
yeah, breaking them in.
Field
It's
maintenance. Just
it's
knock down some branches.
Hit it. You
Save it for the other guy.
yeah. I would love to like have one tree just be hit so much that you can tell like that one's gonna go down here in a year or so. Oh man, that's awesome.
What do you plan to have your hobbies be for van life?
Reading.
Reading.
Is one. Filming is another. I want to make a film while I'm out there. Podcasting. As of like right now, the whole van life will be, in the sense, a hobby.
Yeah.
Until I figure out how to make money out of it. I got a
Okay.
couple ideas. I got at least if I go out there and get a job, then that's obviously a thing. But
Mhm.
as
That's
of
not
right now,
ideal,
the whole van life is just the hobby. I've
It's
been
gonna be
saving up for a
process.
while, and it's gonna be fun just to figure it out.
Mhm.
But
You mentioned
how
you
it
work
goes.
out all the time. What are you gonna do for a gym?
so
Planet Fitness.
I'm not a big Planet Fitness guy.
Ah.
No, I understand just the concept of having them all be around.
Well, and you get a shower and everything, if
everything,
you
exactly.
need like live in your van. You know.
No, the whole working out thing. With my brother, he's got, and this is cool because I just want to make videos with it. But have you ever seen the Ape collection kettlebells?
Mhm.
See, she has. Have you ever seen them?
No.
So like the smaller monkeys and up. So like you got chimps that are like an 18-pound kettlebell. It's like just the head of a chimp.
Mhm.
And then you got orangutan. You got a gorilla.
Yeah.
You got like, it's literally just heads of these animals on the end of a kettlebell.
So
And-
it's the physical shape of
Of a
the animal.
gorilla.
Yeah.
My
Like a
bro-
statue almost.
Yeah, my brother has those. My brother just got big into fitness. He's got some extra money. He's like, I'm going to buy these sick-ass kettlebells and I'm going to use them. And I'm like, as long as we can bring them on the trip.
Mhm.
So I want to make like videos, like workout videos with the kettlebells. Like,
You
but
can do
I,
everything with a kettlebell.
exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, really, if I need to work out, I'm just on the kettlebell grind. But I want to go like up in a mountain, be like, hey Jake, we're gonna carry these 2 kettlebells up this mountain,
Mhm.
and we're gonna like take my drone and my camera and shit. And we're gonna do a kettlebell workout as high up as we possibly
That's-
can.
Well, and that's
Let's see
the
what it
thing
looks
too.
like.
Like when
Your
we're out,
workout's gonna be getting there with all your equipment.
Exactly. I'll be like, I'll do like
Yeah.
1 rep of everything just for the video.
but like hiking's a workout. If you go out
Exactly.
west, there's so much to do.
Exactly. And the other thing, and just gym wise, I want to get a job at a gym.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, I gotta go to gyms and experience them. And when it comes to interviewing and my film, I want to get in with these people anyway. And like podcasting and all that good stuff. Like, once again, putting myself out there and just putting myself in the scenario to have these interactions with people.
Mm-hmm.
So then if I do like meet someone I really like or meet someone that actually likes me and be like, hey, I want to come back out here. Like,
Mhm. Connections.
yeah, can I live here and can you give me a job? And that's going to be the whole plan there. So that's kind of my spiel when it comes to the gym part. Regardless, I'm going to get in the gym. the two other gyms I want to go to, like that me and my buddy are actually hype about is I don't know how much YouTube you watch, but Bradley Martin. He owns the zoo out in California. He's got two of them. Just a big YouTuber.
Mm-hmm.
Dude's yoked. Hangs out with Steve Will Do It and the Nelk Boys a lot.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like they're always in his gym. If they're ever in a gym, it's his gym.
Okay.
So I wanna go see that. Be like, if I like DM him or email him and be like, hey, vlogger, I live in a van. Do you want to do a podcast? Like shit like that, and like just meet that guy. Like if I met that guy,
You want to chat for an hour?
yeah, be like, dude, we'll chat in my van in your parking lot, like ready to go. Like,
Just want to hear your mindset.
yeah, just
nothing else.
Yeah, like I just want to talk to you for a minute and see how that goes. And then like Muscle Beach in California too, just the beach that's out, or the gym that's literally outside, just all rustic shit. And it's just like, just to do a video in that would be cool. Like,
So you have really no set path for your podcast.
No.
Just chat with people and
chat with people, see what they're doing, and
log it.
Log it, yeah. I want to be like, I want it to be Joe Rogan-esque.
Yeah.
But like the idea that like I wanted to have a niche, and I was like, I don't want to have a niche. I don't want to have something that I have to keep to, because I'm not going to be good at it. I'm not going to be good at like, I'm not into, like, I'm into fitness. I have an exercise science degree, but like the people that you talk to on podcasts about exercise science, I'll give it to, they're far, far above me. And it's going to be them talking, and it's going to be me asking questions, like very, very, like not good enough questions to really get to the science of things. And
Not looking to do the research and
yeah,
just
I'm looking to just learn the big picture.
what are your opinions on this?
Yes.
It doesn't have to be fact checked, this and
No,
that.
I'm
It's
not-
not like you're saying this is what it is. It's just
Yeah, it's just us two people talking.
hearing the opinions.
Yeah, and I think that's like, I'd rather get stories than facts, I guess. I like learning, and they're kind of exclusive in like that, but I'd rather learn from your experience than learn from what you learned from a book.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I get it, you experimented and you learned this about how to properly run. But like, how did you even want to learn how to run, bro? Like, that's way more interesting than that. So
I have this idea for a TV show. I just love it. I think it'd be so cool. Like going and living in other people's lives, like in their shoes for like at least a week. Like
Didn't they
Going
swap
to-
moms doing that?
the wife swap.
Yeah, I guess that is something. But like going to jail for a week, being homeless for a week, being Amish for a week, like just, I can't even picture like what those people's lives actually are. So
Yeah.
like I feel like the only way to figure it out is by living it.
To be in it.
And I think
Some
like,
people would say though, should you simulate someone else's life
Yeah.
just for an experience?
Yeah.
Because that
But
could.
I feel like
I'm not
it's-
saying it's a bad idea by
Yeah.
any means. I'm just saying, and
If you look at the other side of it.
the other side of
Yeah.
it, yeah, that would be.
Yeah.
Not
Just
that I'm
taking
saying
the-
people wouldn't
just
like
taking
it.
the identity out of it, I guess.
yeah.
Making it like your own. And then like you hear that a lot. What
I'm
is-
always
what-
thinking on an idea like how is this gonna go bad? Like,
Yeah, that's true.
what is that called? Appropriating, culturally appropriating. And not that I'm saying you would, but like
No.
I would like
no,
to.
it'd be
experience-
interesting.
it-
Yeah,
it would be
But
interesting.
you want to do it in a way that's
that-
not gonna.
that
Oh
allows.
no, I think the only way you can like experience how other people live is
to actually.
yeah, and
experience
like
it.
showing other people that side of
The
life,
situation,
like their
yeah.
lifestyle or the situation
Yep.
exactly. Like it makes it a lot easier to understand and like feel empathy towards.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a lot of one outs too. Like they do like one group, but then that producing company, they don't do anything else. It's like one documentary about one thing, but
Yeah, but like it'd be like dirty jobs, but like towards lifestyles more
Yeah.
of.
yeah.
I
Makes
like
sense.
that though, because I mean you could really dive into it in all aspects.
Mhm.
It's just the other thing
It's
is
kind of what you're doing, just
Yeah.
with people's mindsets as opposed
Yeah.
to their
Yeah.
lifestyle,
lifestyles, yeah.
which
And not to like put more bubbles in it, but just imagine if you couldn't get out of a situation.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? What if you got into like I don't know how far you'd go into it, but I listened to this Joe Rogan. It was Yeomi Park, and it was in North Korea.
Oh
Could
yeah,
you imagine?
that
Like,
one's insane.
I want to experience North Korea, but like, do you get out of North Korea? I don't
She
know.
did.
She
Lord
did,
knows
yeah.
how, but
Yeah. But that's like a crazy. That's like the next level type stuff.
yeah.
No, that would be a cool show. That would be a very cool show.
or at the very least just like getting the insight of their lifestyle, not even necessarily.
Filming.
I just think of Carts of Darkness. You ever seen it on YouTube?
It's such a good video.
What's that?
Some people would think it's like so weird, but like this guy, he was a adrenaline junkie.
Okay.
Did some crazy snowboarding, got in an accident, was paralyzed from the waist down, and his whole thing was like, he's chasing that rush or something. That's kind of like the premise of it. He's like, I always felt like I wanted to keep doing something. He filmed before as well, but he was trying to figure out how he can film and everything, like from his wheelchair and everything. So he gets in his van, he's in Canada, and he's driving around, and he hears about these guys, and so he starts hanging out with them, I believe for a while before he even starts filming. And these guys offer to be like, yeah, you can hang out with us and do your documentary and everything. And it's these Canadians that most of them are homeless, and they just recycle down this long mountain. It's like a long stretch.
Mm-hmm.
And the neighborhood and everyone, that's kind of how it goes. They're all not necessarily even supportive, but it's just like it is what it is, whether they support them or not.
Yep.
And they just take all the bottles, because in Canada the recycling is a lot different setup than in America, and like you get cents back for everything, and it depends on how big a glass bottle is or how big a plastic bottle is, and they weigh it all out for you, and that's how these guys make their living. And he just went around, and at the very end of it, he goes down like one of the shopping carts. They take down this huge hill. They get up to like 55 kilometers per hour, like at a time, like 45 miles per hour or whatever, but they're just hauling ass down this mountain.
In a shopping cart.
In a shopping cart.
Well, they drive the shopping cart. They
Yeah.
put like bricks and stuff to weigh it down, or like cans.
Yeah.
And they literally go down like
counterweights.
hills.
Yeah.
And the guy like interviewing him, he's like asking like, how do you pick a shopping cart? And just like getting his lifestyle. He's like, well, you don't want this one because this will smack you in the gut going down the mountain. He's like, you got to have a good footing and everything. And it's just like,
sounds like
these are people's lives, and he just got to figure out the whole process of it. And then at the very end, the dudes were like, well, you went through all of this with us, you got to experience it now too. So they like lifted him up, put him in the shopping cart, and he filmed the whole thing going down. And he goes, well, I found the rush again. Going down a shopping cart down a mountain highway in Canada.
And that's a documentary?
Yeah.
It's like 45 minutes on YouTube.
It's like a short little YouTube documentary.
But you want it to be so much longer. Like when it's done, you're like, oh.
You think it could be.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh. And if that's how it ends, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh. Dude.
But yeah, that
Could
just
you
makes me
imagine
think of
that
your idea.
film?
Like keep doing things like that and just finding some people and be like, hey, you guys want your story told? Like,
Yeah.
And dude, there's always someone out there with a story to tell.
and some people don't want their
Everyone's
story
got-
told, which is fair.
Which is fair.
Respect
And then you
that.
just go on to the next guy.
Because no one wants to feel like their life's entertainment, but also sometimes people are like,
What we do is fun, dude.
well, they're proud of it. There's nothing wrong with it,
You
and
should, dude.
because there's also like I don't think it's there's no there's no loitering, but in Canada like it's not illegal to be homeless or something. I believe like
Yeah,
there's a
so-
lot of homeless individuals.
Yeah.
And this one guy just had like some property, like he made a garden and everything out of these woods and like set up a bunch of stuff. And the property owner's like, he's not hurting anything. And he's just been back there for like 35 years now.
Just squat
Self-sustain on garden. He just eats veggies and things, gets some money from recycling and goes
Little
buy
crazy.
some foods, get some beer.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's your
That's
lifestyle.
So, question there. When it comes to just how you perceive life, I guess, what's more important? And I feel like I kind of know the answer if you're anything like me, but like the value of like having that saved dollar in the bank account or having all that compared to like not just being stupid and spending money, but like spending money on the experience compared to I'm gonna like save up and then have those experiences. I'm to the point now, like obviously van life, I'm gonna take it to the point where like I'm just fresh out of college. I am not at all financially super stable. Like I've had a consistent job and I've rented houses and I don't have enough to buy a house is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I do well.
You go
money,
paycheck to paycheck with a little rainy day fund.
Yeah, like I'm good. I'm very comfortable. But at no time am I like I said, I'm not gonna go blow money on a house or anything right now. But my idea is if I can keep living comfortable and be doing what I want to do, I could give two craps less about how much money I got in the bank account as long as I got food and a house and friends. Like that's the whole reason I want to do van life. 'cause-
And that's all, like, if that's all people want, that's,
Yeah.
I sometimes think, like, I definitely think like that, but
Yeah.
then the realist in me goes,
Mhm.
oh, I need health insurance.
Yeah.
I need, like, a career job to, like, get that, or
Yup.
a manager position or something, like, something stable, and it's, like,
Yes.
takes away, like, maybe I can't do that lifestyle if I have that kind of job.
Exactly.
And there's also always things you can do on the road to get some insurance, or if you can make enough money to buy into it. But
yeah, it's
those are the
obviously a
things
lot
I.
more
And then it's like, I could save up money and go do all that, but it's like I want to do it young, like when I'm young, and everything. So finding like for me, it's like the middle ground, like save up long enough that I could take a break, maybe live this lifestyle for a little while, and then go back to it. And that's also just. Some people are fine taking the more of a chance than I guess
Yeah.
I would probably say I am.
Yep.
To like, because I mean, you hit an unforeseen bump in the road and you need insurance if you're not
Yeah.
on your parents' insurance or something.
Yep.
Some people's parents don't have insurance. They didn't have insurance growing up. Like,
Exactly.
so
There's
it all
always
depends.
those contingencies.
Yeah.
But no, that's where I'm at with it. And I mean, obviously, like you said, my dad is like the realist one too, just like poking holes and everything. And I'm like, yeah, I get it, but like, I don't want to.
See, that's how I am too.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah, and
I
if you
wanna
don't want to
live.
think about it in the start, like, you know what, you're gonna learn it eventually. Like,
Exactly. I'm gonna have to deal with this eventually.
Yeah.
So
and that's
I
just
might
part
as
of
well learn
accepting
from
something from the
experience.
lifestyle. Like,
Yeah,
if that's what you're choosing, that's
how it goes.
how it goes. Some people would think you're crazy for that. Some people would be like, "Oh, that's what I do. Like, what's wrong with that?"
Yeah.
It's just whatever. As long you're not harming anyone doing it, like
Hmm.
your life.
That's awesome. No, that's the plan, man. I think experience goes a long way, and I think experience can get like just the connections you make, like having just these connections, the connections we've made and have talked about. There's got to be something, and it's you read books about it all the time, and these obviously are like just weird examples, but like there's people out there that know enough people to support them. And like the fact that I know this guy and I can connect this guy with this guy and this guy with this guy, it's just like I have the means to do whatever I want socially, and somehow it works for them financially.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like that is super cool to think about, like you just being an overall great dude or girl, whatever, and people are willing to help you in any way because of how you treat
Interacted
everyone.
with them, yeah.
Yeah.
And then my little guy on the other side of the shoulder. This isn't how I think. My kind of mindset's like friends help friends.
Yep.
And I 100% agree with that.
Yeah.
But then I know, like my father at times would be like, you don't want to always rely on people, this and
Exactly.
that. And like some people think like, oh, he's just a freeloader, this and that. But it's like not everyone sees inside the relationship of your friends and everything.
Yep.
Like as long as your friends are perceiving it that way, it's like, what's wrong with that lifestyle?
Exactly.
But just the antagonist part of me is like people.
Yeah.
I guess that's always just people judging though, and it's like
Yes.
whether that's right or wrong. Like
Who
if it's not
knows?
affecting you, why does it?
Mm-hmm.
But
Why is it
I think
there?
that's also like a pressure that people are like, I don't want to live like that because I don't want people to
Judge you.
judge that. But it's like, hey, that's
It's your
again,
life.
you're not harming someone. You're
Yeah.
supporting yourself. If your
Mhm.
friends want to help you out,
Let them help you out.
yeah. And I guess just being that on the opposite side of that, you being the other friend, acknowledge if sometimes people try to overextend themselves.
Yeah.
Sometimes like we have friends that they'll cook a meal for everyone and they'll go broke cooking. Like, if 20 people show up, we're gonna go get
Yeah.
more steak. Like
Yeah.
doesn't matter what the meal is, how much it costs, like they're gonna feed everyone, and they would keep doing it until they're broke. So it's like you gotta have a relationship with friends that are like, hey dude,
Relax. like,
stop
yeah.
doing that. Yeah, like
Yeah.
don't go broke saving my ass or something.
Yep. No, that's a good way to think about it though. Just like friends help friends, and like if they're willing to do it and they're willing to put that whatever on the line, whatever it may be, honestly just the time really
Yeah.
or the effort, if they're willing to do it, then who are you to judge?
And it's just your perception of the value of a dollar. Like, not everything's going to be one for one.
Yeah.
When friends help friends, like, maybe I'm mowing your lawn, this and that, you're cooking me a meal. Like, it might not equal out
Yeah.
dollar for dollar, but, like,
Who cares?
as long as you guys are good with that,
Yeah.
as long as whoever
long as
you're
there's a
working
mutual-
with. Yeah. The
yeah,
mutual
dude.
agreement. Having a lot of people, though, don't have that conversation with their friends, and some people think the one side's like, oh, it's all chill, like,
And
this
then
is
10 minutes later,
the other side of it's like the other friends are like, what the hell, like this person's never, but
Yeah.
no one wants to have that weird, awkward conversation with
Yep.
like,
The
hey, dude, you owe me
conversations that
something.
need to
Like,
be had.
Yeah.
Mhm.
yeah.
And that's what's like.
And if
my-
you have friends that don't want to have that conversation, then maybe it's like, how do they value your friendship kind of thing?
Exactly. That's when you got to get out of that situation. No, I got lucky. My like roommates that I had in college, it was pretty cool because like, I mean, I knew them from a young age, and we were like, we don't care, like food in the fridge, beer in the fridge, whatever's there, like whatever's in this house, I don't care, just use it. And if you use a lot of it, put it back, and then if you don't,
Replenish it,
whatever,
yeah.
like it don't matter. And it was really refreshing not having to deal with that side of living
Yeah.
with anyone.
And that works if everyone's stable in the house, but sometimes you're the one guy that's like,
has the money.
or that doesn't have the money, and they're like, I can't live like that. I gotta have like, I'm on a budget. I don't eat my food. I've got this plan
Yup.
for the week. But
Yup.
not everyone always wants to say that because then it's like,
Because then you know.
it could be socially embarrassing, this
Yes.
and that, and it's like,
No, and that's another thing. Like, if you are that guy, there is so much other things you could do to even it out.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't
If
like doing
people are
dishes.
good with
I don't
that,
like
like-
doing dishes, but I have enough money to eat chicken. So you do the dishes, and there's a chicken breast in there cooked. Like, go ahead. Like,
Yeah.
like, you know what I'm saying? I don't know.
And it's not that you're like hiring someone to do your dishes, but it's like,
just,
hey,
you did it
You're
half
trading,
of them.
yeah.
I did half
Yeah.
of them. That's just
but again,
like,
that looks
yeah.
bad if you don't have the conversation. If
Exactly.
it's like that expectations there, but they're like, hey, I don't like that deal.
Yeah, there's
Honestly,
people who
don't.
like live their whole lifestyle. What is it? It's called. It starts with a B. Bartering, something like that,
Yep.
where they, in order to get something, they do something in return, and that's their payment.
yep.
And that's how they support themselves.
And that's how it used to always be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There was a teacher at our little parochial school that came in. I can't even remember her name, but regardless, her husband, they like lived down the road for a while out of a camper van with their 2 kids. They're like, they don't watch TV. Like, they lived a very simple lifestyle, which I thought was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I growing up with that again, my twin sister
situation, yeah.
and another kid in my grade, 3 of us, and we're like, we'd never seen something like that. And they come in and live in the parsonage, I think it's what it's called. But it was like we had a house for the teacher and a house for the pastor.
Okay.
Like small town church,
Yeah.
little like vibe,
Yeah.
old school kind of thing. And so they went in that house because the principal wasn't using that house. So they moved in there, so they're not living out of their trailer. But
Trailer, yeah.
my dad is like, so what do you do? Like, he was a craftsman and he just went around and built shit for people. Like, he'd be like, hey, I see your fence line, I can fix that for you. And he'd just go around and kind of barter with people, be like, you want me to do this? I can do it cheap. We live a very simple lifestyle. We
done,
don't need
yeah.
a lot of money. And yeah, and then they stayed there for like 3 years and then they hit the road again.
That would be cool.
And I guess I never even thought of that, like van life, because they stayed a lot of places. They stayed with a lot of friends. So it wasn't like they were trying to live out of their vehicle, but they just traveled. Like, he traveled for his work.
Yeah.
And he just took the whole family, and she was a teacher, so they homeschooled while they were on the road.
There
And
you go.
it was
Yeah.
like, that's a pretty cool setup.
Dude, you've met a lot of people that do van life.
More so, yeah, now that
Yeah,
I'm talking about it.
yeah.
But never
I was
really
about to
thought
say,
about it.
I've never met one other person that's done van life.
Also grew up in a very rural area where
Yeah.
a lot of people were like, I mean, even their house life was, I mean, they had their trailer, they had an outdoor setting, a windshield for in the winter, and a fire pit, and
Ready to
they
go.
just kind of lived more outside and had their
Yeah.
bed inside to go to bed. But you'll get that in rural areas a lot of times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, some people are always like, I always just think about other people's mindsets. Like, some people would absolutely hate that. Some people want a huge house, want to live in a mansion. Like,
Yeah.
but it's
Who
if you
needs
grow
that,
up
though?
and whatever you experience, whatever you get used to.
Okay, now you're good.
But yeah, I guess you can edit that last little part.
Yes.
But whatever your experience or like what you get used to, it kind of just determines like what you're content with, kind of thing. And I think that's what people always fail to acknowledge, like other people's content level. Like sometimes people like look down or like pity it. It's like that's you don't need to do that. Like
Yeah.
I'm like, who's ever content with what you're content with? Like, not everyone needs the same exact kind of thing.
Yeah. Because what I can be content with can compare to what you can be content with, and if my level is way higher, I'm gonna think you're lazy just because you're more content with something, but that's really not how it is.
And I think especially with like younger generation,
Yeah.
like our people our age wanting to do the van life, their parents are like, we worked so hard to get you these opportunities
Yep.
and to have you be able to go to college, and it's like now you want to live in a van, and it's like but it's like my content level is, I think sometimes the parents' satisfaction of like, we did all of this to you, not satisfaction, but like they care about you.
Yeah.
They're concerned for you. It then makes you like feel guilty. It's like, oh,
They have
but,
expectations
Yeah.
of you that you didn't.
and it's
think
like
you
I
ever needed to
don't.
meet.
Yeah, I don't need that to meet that expectation for myself.
I want a simple life.
Yeah.
Yeah, and even if you don't want a simple life, whatever it is, just it might not meet those other
Yeah.
expectations.
As long as you're happy,
Mm-hmm.
does it really matter?
Well, yeah, that's what I think is what pulled me back a lot. Like my parents all wanted everyone to go to
Yeah.
college, but I think a lot of and again goes back to that. Just if you have that conversation, like any parent that's thinking of you like that, I don't think would be like, oh well, shit, maybe they don't realize that's all you really want to do.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's crazy because it's not like I'm going out here just to do it, just to experience it. Like I got plans, like I got stuff that I'd really enjoy doing full time if it somehow worked out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And
So,
if it
like,
doesn't work out,
if
at least
it doesn't
you
work
tried
out-
and you're not bitter in
yes,
10 years or something.
I tried it. I attempted my dream, and if it didn't happen, then apparently that's not where I'm meant to be.
Yeah.
So,
Everything
but at least he
happens for
tried.
a reason.
It's so hard to sit even in the little things, like we said earlier. There's a lot of little things that you're like, oh, I wish I would have done that. I wish I would have done this. It's like, well, think about that right now, and think about what you want to do, big picture.
Yeah, you don't
And
want
if
to
you
look
don't-
back
yeah.
and regret.
Exactly.
And you can listen back to these podcasts, and maybe it makes you realize, I want to do something else.
Exactly. Like, holy crap, did I really say that? No, just kidding. I haven't had that too many times. But no, this was fun, man. This was good. I
Appreciate
appreciate
it.
Yeah, I appreciate you coming on, and I'm glad that our little bar talk ended up this way.
Yeah.
Ended up doing this.
Well, good luck with finishing up the dream, man.
Yep. Thank you.